I am Kyongsei Sohn. Dr. Hasnat is sitting right next to me. We are from SUNY Brockport. Um, Hi from the upstate New York. The course is about teaching the same course again, implications for student evaluation. So the paper is about pedagogical idea and research and certain focus on teaching the same course again and how does it work in terms of student evaluation. So the idea came about a year ago or so by one author, Baban, and he observed his SATs or student evaluations of teaching, we usually call it, were lower in the second section of the same class taught on the same day. So during a conversation in the hallway, we shared the same observation, and one thing led after another. It appears to be a puzzle, so we thought about doing something exciting, and but expectations were at the time probably, isn't it kind of the opposite of what we anticipate generally. So some background, SETs are a common tool for accessing not student, but faculty performance. They are used for evaluating teaching effectiveness and utilized in significant personal decisions, such as hiring, promotion, tenure, merit pay, and teaching awards. And some of the research in the past found about over 99% use this method or factor as the main evaluating factor of faculty performance in higher level educational institutions. In teaching-oriented institutions, SCTs hold the greatest significance in assessing faculty performance, so we thought about using this one, especially when the institutions are teaching-oriented. I know we have negative 5 minutes or so when we begin, so I'll go very quickly. At teaching-focused college and universities, faculty typically teaches 3 or 4 courses. If you are in research one, maybe 1 or 2, depending on the semester, but generally on average, we have more than that in terms of teaching evaluation obligations. SETs often assume equivalence from section to section, and here at SUNY Brockport, SUNY means State University of New York. At Brockport, tenured and non-tenured track usually teaches 3 and 3 lows per semester. The School of Business and Management aims to limit faculty obligation to 2 course prep per semester when it is possible. Usually, it was kept last 20 years or so, but now it's much less common. There is a substantial body of literature examining the factor that determine teaching effectiveness. We're not going to go into this detail. But nevertheless, those ideas are about what influences students' evaluation. So generally, when the students are to begin with higher grades, higher achieving students, generally you get better evaluation. Another research suggested women instructors and non-white instructors have been found to receive somewhat lower SATs. That's also other research findings, but the more focused literature to our study is by Sarah Hendricks, found that EFL students in Japan rated the same teacher similarly across multiple sections taught on the same day. The second one, or second line of research suggests that repeating the same lesson offers an advantage as the first delivery helps identify errors to correct the previous one. Third one, Klein survey teachers and their responses, and then the findings indicated that repeated lessons was more effective the first time it was than second time than the first time. Okay, so why do we think on average and or on general rule, second section performance would be better by the same instructor? The second section benefits from the same syllabus, textbook coverage, pedagogy, exam, and often the same classroom, which was the case for all of us, basically. And faculty members have just covered the material, allowing them to understand what went right or wrong so they can adjust it. And also they understand what students struggled with and what questions were asked, so he or she can be better prepared. So the first section can be viewed as the practice run for the real game, meaning faculty should be better prepared for the second run. There are some other issues, probably not just first or second, but the body of literature suggests it's the faculty factor, student factor, and other factors. In all those above three cases, in our study context, these were largely mainly the same. So faculty factors are some factors such as faculty's background, so PhD or not, or master's or not, or gender, or some racial, whatever ethnicity and so on. Others, communications and expectations, course organization, delivery, professionalism, and respect for students by the faculty. But as you can see it, in our case, those are all controlled, very well controlled. And other student factor, class size, student background, and some of their gender and so on, that can have an impact on evaluation. Others, such as time of the class in the morning, early morning, in the late afternoon, probably have an impact on their evaluation of the instructor and so on. And other classroom level of technology, etc. Okay, so let's talk about our data set. Our time covered was between fall 2007 and fall 2021, right? Before or up until COVID. No summer or winter sessions are collected, data from them, and only face-to-face classes were selected for the data analysis. Class sizes are broadly similar, about 30 to 35 students. And courses were principles of micro, in other words, principles of economics, micro and macro, and international business. So mainly those main audiences are freshmen, sophomore, and in some cases, international businesses. Okay, so 270 data entries and 45 semesters data points. So we have first sequence and second sequence per semester. So it was 90 classes basically. SAT instruments has 4 questions, and unfortunately the scale is reversed in our institution. So lower score means better evaluation. Question number 1, the course as a whole was 0 being excellent, 5 being very poor. Question number 2, the course content was 0 being excellent, 5 being poor. Question number 3, instructor's contribution to the course was 0 being excellent, 5 being poor. Question number 4, the instructor's effectiveness as a teacher was. So this is the result. Question number 1, the course as a whole was about 40 sections or 40 semesters. Students said it's better if you teach the first time out of 45 semesters. Question number 2, the course content was better, they said, on average wise, 37 out of 45. Question number 3, instructor's contribution was better and more superior, 39 out of 45. Question number 4, instructor's effectiveness as a teacher was 37% out of 45 cases, shown to be better. So this is the overall average. If you combine all those, question number 1 and 4 for the semester, first and second sequence, it's 1.23 for the first testing evaluation average, and the second 1.46. So second is higher, meaning less favorable. We investigated whether the class average, grade average, or their performance during the semester has an impact on class evaluations. They were broadly similar, 72.74 for the first sequence, second 72.58. The t-test, so we had to make some statistical decisions. So we ran t-test and then f-test and other tests as well, regression too. So t-test results show a significant difference in SAT averages between first and second sequence or second groups of the convention at the conventional level, and the second the class's average performance level do not differ significantly. So the details are for the t-test, simple mean testing. But we wanted to find out whether the variances are equal or not. So we ran some f-test too. So as you can see it from the p-value, it's 0.12. So you cannot reject the null. So about the same variance, I think. But anyways, for the rigor, we presented t-test for assuming equal variance and unequal variance. But both of the case, p-values were less than 0.001. So they were at conventional statistical level, significance level, you reject the null. Yep, they were different. Okay, class average, we ran some t-test as well and f-test as well, and they are difficult to reject the null, so we couldn't. P-values 0.8 and 0.48. We wanted to see whether SATs and class averages has any correlation or any other reasons to believe they are related or impacting one for another, and ran some regression, simple regression. The coefficient for the class average was negative, but p-values were 0.11, and R square overall 0.029, very low, and adjusted R square 0.018. So they were not really meaningful regression. How about Baban? You take care.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. So, anyway, just let me in one sentence or 1 minute try to summarize what we try to do. In the U.S., we sometimes teach we have teaching load is such that you teach 3 classes a semester, and often you repeat a class. So that's what happens. So, and we wanted an SAT, student evaluation plays a very important role in faculty performance evaluations, with it, hiring, firing, merit pay, and so on. So, but we tried to see and observe something, an interesting pattern. We expected the second course should be better performance-wise, SAT-wise, for the first one, but it turns out just the opposite. That's when we started investigating, and we did traditional research and t-test doses, and now it's come to how can we explain the result that we got, which is counterintuitive. Okay, so we try to realize that there's not much studies done in that area. There are hundreds of studies on teaching evaluation, but not specifically when you repeat a course. Only 3 studies with Kyongsei mentioned we could found. Okay, so our explanation is that instructor energy and delivery. In the first session, we tend to be maybe fresher, maybe more energetic, maybe more enthusiastic. So we give more energy there, and the students find it. By the time we reach the second section, we may feel tired, less animated, less responsive. Students can pick up the subtle differences in tone, pacing, and body languages. So even though in a game of sports or cricket or football or basketball, the second one should be better because first one was the practice. It turns out in our case just the opposite. Okay. Uh, Constructor maybe also sometimes we experiment certain thing in the first session, while by the second section material could feel repetitive to them. So we notice that maybe we try something in the first session, give an example, try to tell you a joke. In the second session we might feel repetitive, so we might avoid that thing. Okay, so by trying to refine explanation in the second section, this can lead to loss of spontaneity, making the first section feel more engaging and novel. Third was timing of the section. Okay, the second section generally meets the later in the day. We typically, in our cases, we back to back. Most of the classes back to back. So, but if it is the second section is towards the end of the day, students may be also tired, less engaged, and more distracted. Uh, but also, and many of our students also work outside the campus, so they may be also coming back to class, to school to take classes, or they are what you call trying to get out of class quickly to go to their jobs. Okay, and go back. Okay. Again, sometimes we find that the morning classes are more attentive, and we have seen there are some studies shows students who take morning classes are typically good students. Okay. Uh, Go to the next one, please. Typically these evaluations are conducted towards the end of the semester, 14th week or 15th week. And if a student is taking full time, so the student experience at least 5 or 6 what you call evaluation. These are mandated by the state, so you have to do it, no choice. On the top of that, some faculty members also do their own evaluation. So we've sometimes believed that that may lead to some what you call evaluation fatigue. You're doing the same thing in 5 classes, and then some additional things. Students might get bored by the time they take the last one. Okay. So what can we do to improve the performance? Okay, to maintain the high energy in this lecture session. Very example, change lecture order, introduce something fresh. So maybe you deliberately try to write down something. Okay, I'm gonna try this joke, this example in first class. Try different one, the second one. And try to be attentive about that. Okay, uh, try to be more active learning in the second session. Okay, and collect pre-course interest. We notice that early cyber students expectation, what do they expect in this class? Adjust giving more support and clarify course goals upfront. Okay, so that's what we find that the students engagement, okay, is important. And and if we can try to moderate our as a faculty member, change the routine that we follow for the first class, change it for the second class, and that sometimes could make a difference. With that, we end our pedagogical research here in class. Okay, so if you have any question, we'd like to answer your questions. Thank you very much.